Record on. All right. Hey guys, welcome to our first Monday night Dream Team Zoom. I know not everyone, well, I'm gonna look at the faces. Yeah, not everyone is in the boot camps, but because they are so life consuming at this moment in time, a lot of what we do talk about on Monday night is from boot camp. So whether you're in it or not, it's okay. You're still going to benefit from all the stuff that we're learning and doing. And as you guys know, I've been very honest that I don't think I have ever worked my business this hard ever from the get-go. Like as much as I thought I did not. I now know I did not. I have never been this deep into chats, this deep into pushing people. I mean, it's fun. It's nerve-wracking, but it's fun. But I've learned a lot about myself in the process, as well as a lot about our team and just like the ebbs and flows and stuff. So anytime we kind of come across something, whether it's like questions from people in boot camp or comments or something, it's just where the topics are basically coming from, I guess is what I'm getting at. So earlier today in the 12K boot camp, we just did our kickoff video for the week, and there were lots of questions in there, and I won't pull it up now, but like the one that was like reoccurring was, how do I get promoters to stick around and promote? And how do I get customers? Like, how do I keep people? Because I know we all have the pain of rebuilding. It's just constantly rebuilding. Like it would be so awesome if everyone who signed up with me when I first started thriving was still here. Like no doubt if they had all stayed and promoted and bought as customers, I would probably live on an island right now. Like it would be a whole other world, but that's just not the reality of business. Customers come and go. Coworkers come and go, business partners come and go. But there is one thing so you can't force anyone to do something. I mean, you guys all know that. You cannot force someone to stay a customer. You cannot force someone to stay a promoter. You can beg, borrow, manipulate all the stuff that you want. But in the end, if the person doesn't really want to be here, they won't be here. However, of the people that do want to be here, some of them are a little lost. Some of them are a little scattered brain. Some of them kind of come in and out, stuff like that. And so there is one overriding theme, and we're going to talk about it. But before we talk about it, we're going to play a little game. So for those of you that can be on camera, now is the time to be on camera with me. It'll be quick. If you can't be on camera, like Sarah's driving, I totally get it. And you guys all know the game Simon Says, correct? All right, so we're going to play. Oh, the girls can play in the back. Oh, you know what? Oh, Lindsay's naked. Lindsay, you just keep your camera off, young lady.
I'm done driving. I'm just getting out of the car. So don't worry.
Okay.
I'm not driving with my children and videoing.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to be Simon. And you guys, so when I say Simon Says, like you do something. And if I don't say that, then you don't do it, right? You guys know how to play this game, right? Okay. All right. So Simon says, touch your eye. Simon says, touch your ear. Simon says, touch your eye. Simon says, touch your mouth. Simon says, touch your eye. Simon says, touch your nose. Simon says, touch your eye. Now, how many of you struggled and went to touch your mouth at first? Okay, probably because we're not sitting together. But if you play that game with the majority of people and they're watching you like up close and you're in the same room, people will follow what you do, not what you say. Like, and even when I just did it with Tom, like he's paused for a minute. Like he knew, his brain was like, this is what I'm supposed to do. But he saw my finger go someplace different. I thought, what is she doing? That's just, I mean, every day I have the same thought about myself. Trust me. So my point is that we talk a lot. You guys, I have had to plug my phone in twice today to keep up with all of these chats. And I've talked to so many people. I kind of forget who I've talked to at certain points and if I've repeated myself, but it's all good. It's communication. It's what we need as a team. It's what you need from your leader. You need that contact. But here's the thing. I can talk till I'm blue in the face. But if I'm not doing something you can see and actually follow, it's not going to matter. So when people say, people have fallen off my team, here comes a really hard truth, you guys. It's because you fell off of your team at some point too. Right? When people say, I can't keep so-and-so motivated, it's because you've not kept yourself motivated at some point in time. We've all gone through it. every single person, and you will continue to go through it. It's going to happen. You're dealing with humans. You are human. You're going to have times where you're like not consistent, and people are going to follow that. And it doesn't always happen in the moment. Like you may check out mentally for like, you may just be like, I just need a week. I can't think about Thrive. I'm too busy. I don't have time. And in the moment that your team will keep rolling, but it will catch up to you. And then all of a sudden you'll be back and you'll be in the grind doing it. And all of a sudden everyone else is taking a week off. Like you won't see it happen. It's not as quick as Simon says, where you like touch the wrong part of your face, but it will catch up to you. So let me see. I wanted Sam to be on here, but she's not on here yet. So I'm just going to read something that if I can find it. We were talking back and forth today. So, okay. So when you take a break, they take a break. When you check out, so do they. Right. And then how often have you thought, I wish so-and-so would post more consistently, or I wish so-and-so, are you? Because if you're not, they're sure as hell not going to. You guys, we have some people in 4K bootcamp who have literally, this is the first time they've ever posted on social media. We have one girl who just started her own Instagram for the first time ever. So when we're like, yeah, let's do, like if I say to you guys 3 posts a day, you're like, oh, okay, cool. And they're like, what's a post? How do I put a picture up? So if they are like, they need direction and they need guidance and they go look at your page, what was the last thing you posted about? Are your posts consistent? Are you showing up consistently? And this also is something that I discovered about myself as far as being a leader, and we discovered it a lot of people. And so here's the thing, like, this is proof right here. I'm on the power plans. I'm on the Monday night thing. I've been consistent with that for my whole life. I was about to say the whole time. But the team page itself, I would share Lavelle graphics. I would share some sort of promo, but not a lot was really happening in there. Wasn't really like doing a whole lot of, I felt like showing up and passing down the information was enough, because either, your team would just somehow find it. But what did we discover? That wasn't happening. We needed the leaders to take, no matter if it got repeated 12 times, we needed the leaders to take whatever I had learned from, say, Lindsay, and then I had to share it, and then you had to share it, and then you had to share it, and you had to share it. Because if I don't share it, that's where it stops. Right? Maybe somebody will share it. Maybe Shantae will share it with her team, but then what if April under Shantae doesn't share it with her team, right? So you're just this constant, you have to remember that what you're doing, your team will reflect it back on you. Oh, good, Sam, you're here. I stole your quote that you sent earlier in the message where you say, when you take a break, they take a break. I did give you credit for it. So just so you know, I did not steal that. But so it's really great and good for people to come in and so it's great that I do these Zooms, right? But at the same time, even though I was doing all these Zooms, was I writing down all my stuff on my 54321? Was I constantly showing up? Was I always getting plugged into the Zooms in the middle of the afternoon? Was I doing all the things all the time? No. And then guess what? Neither was my team. So why would I have been shocked? There are times where people will come to me and be like, she needs this. She needs this in her life. This is her way out of this job. I don't know why she's not pushing for it. But the person telling me that about their potential or their whatever is not pushing for it. So you have to remember, as great as it is to teach, you have to show. I'm a huge visual learner. So someone could tell me 18 times how to do something, but you show me once and I've got it. And a lot of people are like that, especially when it comes to something like business. And most people who are promoters have never been a business owner before. They've never had I've got to market myself during the day and I've got to follow up with customers, and they don't know what that really means. So if we're just spitting stuff out, but if we're showing them, if I'm popping into the team page and showing you an example of a follow-up I did, or showing you like Lacey today in her team page, and then she actually put it in Dream Team too. Thank you. She showed the little bags that she found at the dollar store to give people an idea of how to do sample packs. Again, she could have just popped on a Zoom and said, hey, I'm, go to the store and get these cute little bags and do them. But she showed us what she's doing. So now we've actually seen it, and now we know how to copy that easier, and we can duplicate that, and we can take that picture and share it with our team, and so on and so on and so on. So again, like just back to that game, Simon Says, just because I said Simon Says touch your eye, but you watch my finger touch my mouth, your brain was like, oh, I'm going to touch my mouth. Oh, that's not what I'm supposed to do. Well, now I'm confused. What am I supposed to do? And when people get confused, they stop. How many times have you been confused and you just put on the brakes? I'm confused. I'm overwhelmed. I got my job happening. My husband's over here and needs food. And this is too much. And you just stop. You have to remember and put yourself in that position when it comes to your team. So in addition to the Simon Says version of people will do what you're showing them. And, you know, if you take a break, they're going to take a break type situation. The other thing is, and this, I hope Sarah is still on here. Sarah shared with us a podcast about attracting rock stars to your team. And then of course I started listening to it and I forgot, but then Sam reminded me today, hey, have you finished listening to that? So I did finally get to listen to it. And you guys can all go back and listen to it. But the point is, when you are thinking about your ideal promoter, so let's make this our second game. When you're thinking about the ideal person that you want, like, I mean, when I think about like, if I could get like that one person, like, oh my gosh, she would be a worker. She would not take, like, no's wouldn't bother her. She would be super creative and up to date on all the social media stuff. She would be energetic. Like, I think of all these things that I would want in my ideal teammate, right? Like my promoter. Well, if you write down the things that you want, so real quick, those of you that can, if you're in the position to do so, is that posted in Dream Team? Sarah, I don't remember where you shared it. Did you post it in Dream Team? You posted it in one of the boot camps.
No, I posted it in boot camp, but I can go post it in Dream Team. That's not a problem.
Okay. She's going to share it in Dream Team, Michelle, so you'll be able to get that. Thanks for that question, because I forgot where it had been posted.
And Tammy, while I'm unmuted, for those that don't know, when you see the post, this person is basically like a Maria for another company. But I really love the podcast because it does not talk at all about what she truly does. And I think it is still so applicable to what we do.
Yes, I agree. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
But so for those of you that, excuse me, that can, if you have pen and paper, what are 4 things that you ideally want in a promoter? And, you know, I name like the big things. If I really got honest with you, what do I want in a promoter? I want someone who will do every day. I want someone who will, with no question, be like, you know what, I'm going to bust out 3 reels. I'm going to do 10 reach outs. They're just going to do it. They're not going to question it. They're not going to argue. Is that my baby Courtney trying to get into the video? I can see him.
He's literally like trying to put himself on top of me.
Because he heard my voice.
Yeah.
So Lindsay wants a social media guru. Oh, that's good. You can put it in the chat too if you want. But so write down a few things that you want in your ideal promoter. I want someone who will do the do, even if they don't know how. I just want someone to be a self-starter. Ooh, self-starter. That's a good word. That's a good word. Moms who want to support a family. Not afraid to jump forward and who's coachable and who's willing. You know what I want? I want someone who will not make excuses. I don't need somebody making excuses all day, because I can make self-damn motivated, not just self-motivated, self-damn motivated. Someone who's coachable and can see their worth. Well, that's a good one, Court. But yeah, I want someone who doesn't make excuses, because we could all make excuses all day. Not afraid to fail forward. Yes, Dawn, that's a good one. Okay, so with all of these things in mind, like, let's pretend that you've taken the time, and I do encourage you guys to take the time. I mean, we're obviously on a Zoom, so we're kind of flying through here. But I encourage you to take the time to actually write stuff down. Or someone who is not afraid of getting together and doing team events locally. Yes. Oh, did I miss one? So I want someone who wants it and will work for it, who is open to feedback and keeps trying. Wow, all of a sudden words like literally blurred on the screen for me. Okay, so now of the things that you've written, someone more outgoing than me, Sonia, that's okay. Now, of the things that you have written, I want you to put a star next to the things that you are. So Dawn wants someone who's not afraid to fail forward. So Courtney wants someone who's coachable. Sarah wants someone who is willing to, who is open to feedback and keeps trying. Lindsay wants somebody who's self-damn motivated. Sandra wants somebody who's coachable. If those describe you, if some of the things that you wrote down are actually descriptions of you, put a star by it. And now I want you to go back and circle the things that you are looking for in a promoter that aren't you. So Sonia just said she wants someone more outgoing. So she's looking for someone outgoing. And Sonia, I think you're outgoing, but that's because I've known you my whole life. But so she would have to circle outgoing. Like she's looking for someone who is not like her in that sense. Right. And so like Courtney said, someone who's coachable can see their worth. Are you coachable? Can you see your worth? If you're not, you have to circle those things. You see, I believe I am coachable and I see my worth now. It took me time, but I eventually got there. Yes. I did not, you were typing as I was asking you questions. Because here's what I'm getting at. You attract like. That is a scientific fact. Everything like attracts like. So if you are making excuses, you are going to attract that from your team. If you are taking a week off, you're going to attract that from your team. If you are being negative, you're going to attract that from your team. So not only will you attract that type of person, I found where to chat. Oh, yay, Beth. I want someone who wants to improve themselves. Yes, and Beth, that's a perfect example. You've been looking for the chat button because you wanted to make a comment and you wanted to get better and you found it. And so good job, Beth. That is so cute. I found where to chat.
I just want to say I'm so excited she's on here.
I know, me too. Beth did her humble brag live video in the 4K bootcamp the other night. She did great. They all did. But so you're going to attract people. So, I mean, you guys know, like, I'm not a willy-nilly. I'm not going to attract someone to me that's pretty willy-nilly because they're not going to want to be around me, right? We're not going to do real well. But I can even attract someone who is like me. But then if I turn willy-nilly, I'm either going to bring that out of them or I'm going to repel them. So when you want someone, I should say, on your team, like I just said, I want people that don't make excuses. You guys will not hear me make excuses. And if you do, call my shit on. Oh, see, but Sarah's on earpod. Call me on it, right? Like, I don't like hearing them and I don't like giving them. We all have so much going on in our lives. And a lot of you have stuff going on in your lives that nobody knows anything about because you separate life from business. And that's going to keep, and that to me, that's okay. I don't think it always has to be connected. Yes, we are here to support each other. And yes, we have a great community, but at the same, I mean, you guys, and Sonia, I'm going to pick on you. Sonia has gone through some real shit. That's putting it nicely. And she's on the Zoom. So if someone on Sonia's downline was like, well, I was just really busy, or you have no idea, we've had a really hard day. How do you think Sonia's going to take that? Yeah, I do understand. I know what it's like to have a hard day, but I'm showing up for my business and I'm asking you to do that too. So yes, we're human. Yes, we're all going to have things, but you have to remember if it's a constant repetitive thing, if XYZ is always the reason that you can't show up or you can't finish this or you can't do that, then just know that you're either going to find more people like you who won't make it a priority and won't dedicate the time to it, or the people who are currently will eventually stop because they're going to see that in you and they're going to be like, well, if she doesn't have to do that, I'm not going to do that either. I mean, how often have we heard that in our lives? Like I've said that out loud, like, well, if so-and-so's not going to do it, I'm sure it's not going to do it. Right? That's a human nature thing. So remember, as much as we like to say what we're doing and we like to say how people can do things, we have to show our team. And we have to, yes, we are a reflection of our businesses. Yes, your business, and you guys think about this, when you've been doing great and you felt great, like just think back when you were first just a Thrive customer and you started feeling good. And you started you project that, right? You get up, you're not frowning, you're not blah, blah, blah. You're excited. You're like, people are drawn to that. You guys all have someone in your life who acts like Eeyore, right? Every last one of you knows someone who acts like Eeyore. They walk around, they mope. My God, they walk in the room and you're like, no. social distancing, 6 foot away, man. You just keep that shit away from me. You all know someone like that. And then you know someone who's like always in a good mood and you're like, oh, thank God they're here. Right. So you're being drawn to how you act. My daughter literally walks around in an Eeyore costume. That's funny because she doesn't act like Eeyore, but apparently she likes to look like Eeyore. Lindsay says my ex-husband. We won't even start. That's a whole other conversation. But so my point is, when you feel yourself saying my team isn't doing this, or so-and-so is always complaining, stop yourself and be like, wait, have I been complaining a lot lately? Have I not been doing this? And with that said, some of you are doing a lot, but you are not sharing it or showing it to your team. And I will say that is one thing that has come out of boot camp. We have really pushed the leaders who have team pages to show up in their team. Because how frustrating is it when you're like, I'm doing all the things and no one else is doing it? Well, sweetie, they don't know what you're doing because you haven't talked to them. You haven't told them. You're not sharing pictures. You're not sharing video. You haven't hopped on a live to be like, hey, did you know this is how I do XYZ? So are you guys following me? Are we all on the same page here? Are we tagging along?
Can I add to that? I was gonna type and then I was like, it would just be easier to say.
Please.
I have definitely noticed with doing boot camp, like every team has their own personality, which is why we have everyone going into their own group pages because people joining you for a reason. But I really want to ask you guys, if you are the one looking for promoters to be on your team and be self-starters and go-getters and have no excuses, look in the mirror because I know I wasn't showing up the way I should have, which is why I started running boot camp. I knew something was missing and I had to find it because that's my personality. And the people who are also in boot camp, they're my people, right? Because they joined boot camp and they want to get better. Mm-hmm. So, but you know, every single leg of the team has a different personality though, which is good. I feel like the team is well-rounded. Like we all have different types of personalities, but I hear so many excuses, and Tammy, you do too, because we're in the chats together. But a lot of people who are looking for that rock star promoter, I want someone to change my business, is probably also somebody who had to take the day off for this, that, or the other, for whatever reason it may or may not be. We all know how it is to be busy or sick if you're not well. I mean, if I have strep throat or gosh, I've totally trashed my back and my neck multiple times over the years, I can still send a reach out. I can still say happy birthday to somebody. I can still go to bed, pull up my phone. Maybe I didn't do anything all day long, but I can go to bed and send 3 messages and put my phone down and go to sleep. So if that is you, change it. And guess what you'll attract? What you're looking for. What you do will come back to you. What you say to do, you can say and say and say what you want them to do and ask them to do things. Ask your team to do things. Or maybe you don't have a team yet at all. Maybe you don't have a team because you're thriving out loud and you're sharing Thrive, but you're not doing any leadership things. Maybe hosting an opportunity live might have been the first time you did it if you were in boot camp last week, or maybe you don't talk about the opportunity enough, right? So you got to do the scary thing to attract what you really want. You've really got to do the scary thing. So yeah, that was my add-on.
I was not laughing at you, I promise, but Lacey's comment just came through. Can you see it? I know it says, you could have at least put my name on this live. This is me. I'm guilty.
Oh, no. I mean, it's everybody. It's everyone because we've heard it from everybody. I
will say, or I guess I shouldn't say, I will ask those of you that are showing up in your team pages, are you seeing a difference in your team? Yeah. I mean, I'll own it. Sonia says I'll own it. So Sonia and Lacey want to fight over who gets to name the Zoom. Lacey says yes. I will, and I shouldn't do this because I don't want to brag on people, but I'm going to brag on Sandra real quick, just because we've picked on Sandra enough that I feel like I should brag on her. Remember when we did the Zoom about getting rid of the word squirrel and how she was no longer allowed to use that word. Do you guys all remember that? And you know how hard that is because she has used that word to describe herself for how many years, Sandra D? Long time, right? So I want to say after, I guess, 6 weeks, maybe in boot camp, all of a sudden, Sandra, who came to us, squirrel brained, really wanted to get focused, wanted to do her business. After 6 weeks of being in her own boot camp, I haven't heard the word come out of her mouth. I have not seen the activity happen at all. She checks in, she tells us what's going on, who she's talking to, what's happening, where they're at, what she's doing next. And the girl who came into boot camp to reclaim her 12K, now first after 6 weeks, but now after 8 weeks, I think, she has 6 people on her team that joined the 4K boot camp. 6. Because why? Because she is showing up in her team. She is running her team. She is giving to her team. And she's taken away her excuses. You guys, she watches her grandkids during the day. And if you've ever seen any of her reels with her grandkids, they're adorable. They're a handful, right? She did not feel great earlier in the week. There's all kinds of things that, Charlie was sick. She's got children and grandkids and a life. So, like she's got crap to deal with, but she stepped up to the plate. And so I cannot encourage you enough to step up to the plate. And again, I shouldn't brag on one person because there's so many of you that are doing this and I'm proud of all of you, but I just think it's that is such an example of someone who came in and was like, help me, I can't think straight, to now, okay, I have 6 people in the boot camp and here's what I'm talking to them about. Like, what? I would love for her. Okay. Yeah. Can you, Sandra? Yeah. You're still muted. There you go.
I just was typing that I went out yesterday and put my phone on silent so that my family could not get me. Okay, let's see. In 2 minutes, just briefly explain how she's running her team. Oh my gosh, I don't know that I'm doing anything that's magic. I've had a team page, but it was kind of like all of us who have a team page that we are blessed and lucky to have one. Felt like we would copy and paste, but we weren't really in there connecting with the people that's in our team. And so I'm trying to be really intentional of being in there with a live at least twice a week, if not 3. I don't want to bombard them with a quick little live, but like tonight, I'm fixing to go live once we hop off of here. And Lacey and I are going to go live later, but here in just a little bit. But anyway, I'm just going to talk about y'all. We've got Thrive-Palooza coming up. This is what they're talking about. What do you think? Do you think they're going to be launching XYZ? I'm going to be putting all of the announcements in here, that kind of a thing. But I'm also connecting with each person, whether they're in boot camp or not. I'm connecting with each person individually in Messenger, because that's not something that I did a lot of in the past. I attempted, I thought I was, but I wasn't. And like she said, I think Tammy said earlier, like, oh gosh, what was it you said? If you check out, so do they. I checked out in October. And so I was there, but I literally checked out. And so the way I'm running my team is just, I am telling every single person who is interested in this boot camp that I'm like, y'all, this is like the ground up, and I've talked with a couple of people who are like, we're green, we don't know anything. And I said, that's okay. You're not the only one. Everybody starts not knowing, anything. And that is okay. Because like Tammy says, if we're not learning, we're not growing. It's either Tammy, Samantha, or Lindsay. I'm not sure which one. It's one of them, but I don't know that I'm doing anything extra special.
Well,
I'm just trying to show up.
You just said yourself, I'm talking to these people individually in Messenger. And like Sam and I have had this conversation. Everyone's like, boot camp, what a great idea. When you boil down what we're doing in boot camp, we're just working 3-way chats all day, every day, like all day, every day. And so it's not just that we're talking to the team in general, because we do, like we have conversations like this, but you're in Messenger, you are talking to the person, what's working, what's not working, what are you struggling with, what did you do great today? Like you're constantly working with someone. And so does it take time and energy? Yes, but look what's happening from it. You guys do the math. 6 people hit 4K under Sandra. What happens to Sandra's volume? Right? That's huge. So even if you're on here right now and you're like, but I don't really have a team. Okay, so let's say tomorrow you get a new promoter You get them excited. You get them in boot camp. You get them in their chat, their upline chat with people. You get them started. That person can go 4K. And in the process of going 4K, that means they're going to add on to people. They're going to have people, you're going to start growing your team. So really all we're doing is working chats and then duplicating chats. And right, I mean, what is so standard, you and I have had chats forever, right? And we work them, but a lot of times we're just working them when there's a promo or when there's a problem, right? How often is it just like, I'm having a problem? But now it's a dedicated thing where, okay, before we have a problem, what's going on, right? What are you trying new? So I feel like that's the big difference for you.
Right. Well, and one of the things I'm going in and I'm asking each person, I've sent a couple of the messages, is because my team has people from Michigan to, oh gosh, Virginia to Texas to here. And so there's not a lot of continuity. And so I'm going to do a thing in there where they don't always know everybody's story, and then may not always be connected to a leader or hop into these to kind of get to know who everybody is. And so they don't know stories to connect people to. And so what I'm going to do is I'm asking each person to just think about what their life was like before Thrive, once they started thriving, and then what it's like now, and send me just 3 quick little paragraphs. I mean, like short, along with the picture of them before and now that they're thriving and everything. And so what we're going to do is we're actually going to take those and we're going to put them in our team page so that everybody can start getting to know who each other is. And that's going to be their first foray into having their piece that they need for their story to go into the Lavelle Facebook fan page, because that's going to be the next thing. And
so, and Sam pointed out you're having guest speakers come in and share.
Yes. And then I'm actually, and Lisa doesn't know this, but Lisa's going to be doing something for me towards the end of the month. But because Lisa's just hit the ground running with reels, I'm going to have her pop in here in probably like after we get back from Thrive Palooza, because by then, more people are going to, have had a week or so underneath their belt with boot camp and that kind of thing. But I also have to say, number one, so I've got to give kudos to Shantae really quick, because back about 2 months ago, I reached out to her and I said, how do you onboard promoters? That's where I feel like I need to learn more of. And Shantae just said, sister, you're overthinking it. And she was so sweet, but she's like, put them in Vibing and Thriving. That's the first thing you want to do after you've connected them with their leader, with someone else. And so, but this boot camp brainchild that Samantha and Tammy have come up with, y'all, this is giving us those tools. We were like, for those of us that have been in for a little while, that are the grandmas here, we were learning. We had to learn everything basically kind of on our own. It was like osmosis. Not that Lindsay and them didn't help us, but it was just bits and pieces. Y'all, you're not getting it bits and pieces. Your people who are coming in now, sorry, I'm getting preachy. Your people who are coming in now, they're being given the exact tools that they need. And this takes the guesswork and the brain work completely out of it. They don't have to feel like they're trying to reinvent the wheel, because guess what? The wheel's already been invented, and they've taken it, they've tweaked it for us with this boot camp stuff, and it's giving us that roadmap that we need.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I agree with your comment, Sam, by the way. Sonia, did you see that comment? Just throwing it out there. But so let me just point out really quickly. So Sandra gave kudos to 4 or 5 other leaders when talking about how she's building her team. She has learned from other people. So you got to take what you've learned from other people, you got to pour it back into your team, and then you guys don't do it solo. Invite those leaders. When someone teaches you something, share it, but then invite those leaders to come in and talk to your team. Those of you that have team pages. And those of you that don't yet have team pages, you can go into Dream Team 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, and you can share anytime you've learned something and you can hop in and go live. You can make a post. Just because you maybe don't have your own team to share with yet doesn't mean you don't have stuff to share. And trust me, I hear stuff all the time. I'm like, oh, I need to share that in Dream Team. And then I hear something, oh, I need just share it. Just put it in there for me. Like, put it in for the whole team. Because we're all going to learn. The more we're together, the more we're going to learn, the better we're going to get. It's a fine line, because it's the duplicating process where we want to build everybody up so that then they can spread their wings and build everybody up, so they can spread their wings and build everybody up. But you're never alone in this whole process. So I don't know. Tonight, we just really wanted to connect because I think a lot of people have frustrations. And I get that. We all have frustrations, but you've got to look in the mirror. Like Samantha said, you've got to turn around and look in the mirror. What am I frustrated about? And there was something else that I wanted to talk about. I don't know. Oh, I know. I do. It came to me. When people come to you with excuses, Samantha has taught me this. I'm like a fixer kind of personality. You're like, this isn't working or blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, well, try this, we'll try that, blah, blah, blah. And here's what happens when somebody's making an excuse and I'm trying to fix it and I'm giving them like 18 brilliant ways that they could fix their problem. And they're just like, that don't work either. That won't work either. I have learned or am learning that I have to stop that. And when somebody is giving you excuses for why they're not working their business, ask them why they're working their business. Why are you here? What are you working for? What is your goal? We had a gal reach out to us last week and say, hey, can I talk to you guys on a Zoom together because I'm really struggling and I think my mindset's in the wrong space and da, 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 da. And so we're like, yeah, sure, fine. And so we let her talk for a few minutes and tell us, it's all the things, the husband, the kid, the da, 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 da. And then we're like, why are you here? What is it you want? Obviously you don't want to quit because you asked us to talk to you. So what is it you want with this business? Because it all goes back to that vision. If you can get someone to connect back to their vision, they'll see. I mean, Sandra could have easily been like, you guys, I've had squirrel brain since I was born. This just is who I am. Da, 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 da. That was her excuse she was holding on to. And when she got rid of that excuse, look what happened. So if you're holding on to an excuse, you got to let that go. Yes, Sonia, you've got a new vision to put together. You've got a whole new life in front of you. And I know it wasn't by choice, but you definitely have a time for a new vision to wrap your mind around. And so see, case in point, you're here. You show up for these. You are still here. You've not quit. You've not given up. So it's clearly in your heart. You just have to find it. All right. So I've gone way over time. Does anybody have anything they want to add really quick? I know this is a little bit all over the board. Hopefully you like my game of Simon Says. Hopefully you'll remember that next time someone's not doing what you're asking them to do, ask yourself, am I showing them what to do? Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to turn off the recording and then we have a little Zoom following up. So bye.